You are always held with unconditional love. When you look up at the moon and stars, you can feel your soul's connection to the entire universe and all its beings. It's possible to make every decision with your mind, body, and spirit in total alignment and wholeness. I'm Divinely Jennifer, translating astrology and health in ways you've never experienced before so that you can choose the path that is right for you. And this is the Juicy Astrology for Wednesday, October 13th through Thursday, October 21st, 2021. Welcome. Beauties, in Mercury retrograde fashion, I completely left out the Pluto-Aries square going exact for the fifth and last time when I talked about the astrology for October 8th. A big shout out of gratitude and solidarity to the brave employees at Southwest Airlines who took advantage of this square to basically shut down the airline for the weekend. The message was loud and clear. I own my body, not the government, not the corporation I work for. Together we stand in our power. It was a pivotal moment and a beautiful example of Aries and Pluto working together instead of fighting to take action on behalf of sovereignty and independence. We need to remember this energy in the days moving forward. I heard a beautiful quote today from an older gentleman. He said, "When you stand together, they cannot take away your dignity." It brings tears to my eyes just feeling into it. This Juicy Astrology will go just beyond the full moon to include October 21st and partially October 22nd for those in the Eastern US and Europe and beyond. It's going to be a long video, so I encourage you to listen to it a few times and take a break if you need to. There is a lot of information to take in right now, and this video is no different. The fire energy is saying, go, 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 but the air energy is saying, breathe. In fact, that is really the mantra for the next few weeks. Breathe. It's so simple, and yet how often do we forget the benefits of taking a deep breath or 5 to reset our nervous system out of fight or flight response and into rest and digest. Many of us are feeling an activation of light energy within us that may be manifesting physically as fever, inflammation, fatigue, headaches, or more generally feeling different. The 3D world expects us to push through any discomfort, but our bodies know to slow us down so that we are aligned with what my dear friend Cherie calls our soul's pace. Honor your pace, honor your body, honor your spirit. This is how we stay aligned with our up-leveling DNA and divinity instead of face planting on the cement of the 3D world because we've depleted all of our resources. I'm feeling it too. Eris and Aries is working my 6th house of health, well-being, and work right now. I'm recording this in my pajamas. Seriously. See? Can you see that? I'm wearing my pajamas. It was all I could do to put on a bra and brush my hair. The astrology this week is so intense and powerful. Truly some of the most intense and powerful of our lifetimes. I'm not kidding. I needed to focus my attention on communicating with you, Libra, what I'm seeing in the cosmos so that you can navigate into it and through it, versus making sure that you see me looking a specific way for the video. Normally, I honor the Libra in my first house when I make these videos. I curl my hair, I dress nicely, I put on makeup, but today you are getting raw Scorpio all the way, baby. This matches the unseasonably cold, gray, drizzly week of weather we've had. Speaking of weather, have you noticed how Mother Earth seems out of balance as she lovingly tries to bring us back into balance? Cold and gray like December here in California, warm and sunny like May in the northeastern US. That will flip-flop this weekend. What? Everything is hanging in the balance right now. This week, Our scales will be tipped one way or the other. The scales won't just tip you, you'll be catapulted into the cosmos as you release all that you have been transmuting, shedding, and shifting. Even more so for all of you with planets at 24 degrees of Libra, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer in your natal chart. If you aren't sure, and you subscribe to my YouTube channel or on my mailing list, please send me an email at hello@divinelyjennifer.com with your birth date, time, and location, and I'll send you a copy of your natal chart with any of those planets circled if you have them. What tips the scales for you? What triggers you? I'll speak more about this when I get to the energy of the full moon. On her own as a full moon, she would be intense. But because she is riding the energy of the chaotic Eris, Pluto, Sun, Mars showdown, our emotions will be on high alert. We're talking feisty and angry in capital letters. Aries is a sign of independence, courage, and action. It's taking risks without worrying about consequences. Let's go back in lunar history a bit to give you some context. This full moon is a culmination of everything that has been building over the last 2 years, and especially the last 19 months. Why make this stuff up when we can look back at reality? We had a full moon in Aries on October 13th, 2019, 2 years ago today as I record this, which formed a loose T-square with Pluto and Eris. 5 days later, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation co-hosted Event 201, a live simulation of a pandemic caused by coronavirus. Fast forward to March 2020. On March 24th, 2020, we had the new moon in Aries. The moon and sun were 1 degree from an exact conjunction to Chiron, the wounded healer. Meanwhile, Pallas Athena, Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars were all conjunct in Capricorn. Talk about a ruthless strategy for a big battle and power play. March 24th was the day before all the lockdowns began throughout the world in a supposed attempt to keep people from getting sick with the same disease they used in the October simulation. It was Lockdown Eve. Now here we are on the full moon of that new moon 19 months later. The scales of Libra will tip and you'll need to make a choice. There's always a risk involved when we make a choice. Make sure to breathe before you choose. Luckily, Mercury will have stationed direct. See, she's retrograde. Mercury will have stationed direct by the time of the full moon, so nothing will be totally unexpected. The unexpected arrives with the Scorpio new moon on November 4th. If you've been struggling with your path and deciding where to shine your light, or feeling all of this energy manifesting physically, now is the perfect time to book an astrology and health reading with me via my website, www.divinelyjennifer.com. You are all such powerful beings, and it's a privilege to get to know you through your divine natal blueprint. Thank you also for all of the subscribes, likes, and comments on YouTube and on my mailing list. It really helps to share the love via those YouTube algorithms. Okay, loves, there is a lot going on this week. Oh my goodness, a lot is such an understatement. So with no further ado, let's get to the Juicy Astrology for Wednesday, October 13th through Thursday, October 21st, 2021. As always, all times listed are Pacific Daylight Time, so please adjust according to your time zone. Wednesday, October 13th. The waxing moon starts the day void in Capricorn after a closing square to Eris and a conjunction to Pluto. She's on a mission. She enters detached, innovative, futuristic Aquarius at 1:47 p.m. She's focused on the collective and community she is creating for the future. Pay attention to who you meet. Venus and Sagittarius sextile Saturn and Aquarius at 12:26 p.m. They're both at 6 degrees 53 minutes. This is a lovely closing sextile and the last big transit Venus will have with Saturn before she meets up with him in Aquarius on March 28th, 2022 in a radical triple conjunction with Juno, the goddess of love and partnership. Feel back to their initial conjunction on February 5th, 2021. What has shifted for you in your relationships to community and the future? What did you commit to that you need to release, and where do you want to continue? Infuse any commitments to your long-term plans with love today. See the future you want to live in your mind's eye. Retrograde Mercury in Libra trines retrograde Ceres in Gemini at 5:37 p.m. They're both at 12 degrees 3 minutes. This transit asks us to conceive of loving and nurturing communication in our one-on-one relationships. Do you do all the talking, or do you spend more time listening? See if you can find the balance. Thursday, October 14th, the waxing moon is in Aquarius all day. The first half of the day is really lovely for the moon as she taps into the adventures of love and language. The second half of the day inspires her to do things differently and tap into the innovative spirit of Aquarius, especially as they pertain to local resources and sustainability. There are no major transits today. Friday, October 15th, the waxing moon in Aquarius again has a really juicy early morning. Those of you in Europe and eastward will really get to take advantage of this energy, which is all about love, expansion, and shining our light. She enters empathic, sensitive, intuitive, and dreamy Pisces at 7:21 a.m. She encourages you to use your intuition to shape your destiny. The Sun in Libra trines retrograde Jupiter in Aquarius at 4:46 a.m. They're both at 22 degrees, 22 minutes. This is one of the best transits of the week. It's all about expanding the best of our one-on-one relationships into our communities. When we fully shine our light in a harmonious way in our relationships, it spreads out into our community. It's the best kind of contagious energy. I know many of you are not happy in your relationships right now because you don't feel spiritually aligned, or you don't feel like your partner really sees your light. This transit asks you to shine your light anyway, even when you don't feel seen. This sends an important message to the universe about what you are manifesting and calling in. Saturday, October 16th. This is a very busy day for the cosmos and overall one of the nicest for the week. The waxing moon remains in Pisces all day. She has a little conflict with some feminine energies in the sky, like a little tiff between mother and daughter. But then she finds her groove in the evening, perhaps creating a ritual or meditation to tap into her intuition. Mars in Libra sextiles Juno in Sagittarius at 10:51 a.m. They're both at 20 degrees 45 minutes. You'll be inspired to take action in your intimate partnerships. For some, this can be a little jarring if the action is to bring needed balance between the masculine and feminine energies. For others, an act of solidarity, such as taking a walk together or finishing a project in your shared space, can bring loving harmony to the relationship. Venus in Sagittarius trines retrograde Chiron in Aries at 11:49 a.m. They're both at 10 degrees 4 minutes. Venus takes a moment to love up the wounded healer. This feels like a child crawling on her tired father's lap to snuggle and hear adventurous bedtime stories in faraway lands. This transit also brings the energy of spiritual healing. You've made it this far into the chaos, and your spiritual practices, no matter their origin, will carry you through. Retrograde Uranus in Taurus opposes Vesta in Scorpio at 12:15 p.m. They're both at 13 degrees 35 minutes. You're only allowed into the temple for the next initiation on your hero's journey if you're ready. Vesta, the wise elder feminine, knows this. When we go through the rites too soon, before we are ready, it can cause a big breakdown rather than the breakthrough we were hoping for. Stop to review your journey before proceeding on your next step. Make sure you understand the lessons of everything you have experienced thus far. Retrograde Mercury in Libra sextiles Venus in Sagittarius at 6:23 p.m. They're at 10 degrees 21 minutes. Whisper words of love to your sweetie as you speak of your future life together. Where do you want to travel? Where do your hearts call you? What adventures await? Do wait until Mercury turns direct on Monday before booking any tickets or solidifying your plans. Venus in Sagittarius squares Pallas Athena in Pisces at 11:38 p.m. They're at 10 degrees 35 minutes. Are your long-term plans aligned with your dreams and longings of your soul? If not, stop and re-strategize, preferably in the bathtub and or listening to the sounds of waves. Sunday, October 17th. This is also a big day, but unlike yesterday, it opens the portal to the incredibly challenging energy I talked about at the beginning of this video. I strongly encourage you to turn off any media or relationships that do not raise your frequency or serve your highest good, at least for the next 5 days. The waxing moon in Pisces is feeling especially connected to the divine and empowered by her dreams. If you've written down your dreams somewhere, take a moment to read them out loud, either to yourself or your beloved. She goes void at 4:24 p.m. with a sextile to Pluto. She feels the delusions of the 3D world, so stay true to the messages of your heart and the cosmos. The Sun in Libra forms his exact opposition to Eris and Aries at 2:34 a.m., that's at 24 degrees 14 minutes, and his exact square to Pluto in Capricorn at 5:12 a.m. They're both at 24 degrees 20 minutes. Let's look at these together since they activate the T-square for the full moon. As I've mentioned previously, the Sun is in his fall in Libra. He can't shine his light as brightly or as long as he did in the summer. Not one to give up, he turns his attention to sharing the bounty of the summer harvest with his loved ones, making sure that no one goes hungry and also making sure to store away as much as possible for the autumn, winter, and early spring. And let's also have some fun by getting together for a fall celebration and getting our hands all slimy, carving up pumpkins for Halloween. Like all aspects, this transit has a spectrum of energy and frequency that we can tap into, a range of dark shadow energy all the way to the highest frequencies to shift us into the new earth. Let's talk about the dark first. We've all been feeling the polarities and imbalances of our relationships over the last several months. Friendships and family connections severed. Each person has their own definition of balance and justice. Some people in positions of power in government and corporations, Pluto and Capricorn, have for whatever reason chosen to use what they see as their authority to silence voices that go against their narrative of justice and balance or fairness. Eris in Aries doesn't like this one bit. She wants everyone to have a voice and then be independent in their sovereignty. In this way, she can actually partner with Pluto because Pluto's highest vibration is sovereignty. It's being empowered in your highest self and living the life you are here to live, in service to love, respectfully, yet independently. The pilots at Southwest demonstrated sovereignty. So the shadow side of this transit is that the sun is shining a light on the imbalances in our relationships and in the world that keeps us from living our best life in our sovereignty. You may see things in your loved ones, in the government, in corporations that finally make you say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I love you, and let's separate for a while. I can't rescue you. You can't rescue me. While this might be necessary, it might hurt. It might cause fights over the next few days, both with words and fists. What's the higher frequency of this transit? I think a lot of us, myself included, have tried to maintain a superficial peace in some of our more challenging relationships by dulling our light. We lower our own vibration to meet the other person so as not to cause disharmony, instead of standing in the radiance of our higher frequency. We can use this aspect to stand in our light, empowered, radiant, sovereign, and free. Free to vibrate at our frequency, to shine our light, to be as woo-woo and magical as we freaking want to be. This doesn't have to mean fighting, arguing, or getting angry. You'll be tempted over the next few days, to be sure. Use music, song, and nature to make sure you don't get blinded by your own gorgeousness. Also today, Jupiter stations direct at 10:30 p.m. at 22 degrees 19 minutes of Aquarius. Jupiter flew through Aquarius the first half of 2021 to move into Pisces, one of his favorite signs, in May. But he had to backtrack into Aquarius to clean up some loose ends. Jupiter in Aquarius has encouraged us to dream of our long-term plans, to be part of the aligned spiritual community our hearts long for. How many of you have said you are calling in community, your soul tribe? What is your vision for creating and living in community? Jupiter wants us to go big and also to innovate. For me, that means being completely off-grid and in nature, a community where every home has rainwater and gray water catchments, composting toilets, an abundance of trees and water, where we grow food together, bring our gifts together, yet follow our divine sovereign paths to create the new earth. For others, it means being in a thriving city and enjoying the hustle and bustle of activity. Jupiter will again fly through the last degrees of Aquarius until he re-enters Pisces on December 28, 2021. He'll clear his retrograde shadow at 2 degrees 11 minutes of Pisces on January 8, 2022, when you'll likely feel your soul and connection to the divine expand in beautiful ways. Monday, October 18th. The waxing moon enters Aries at 3:04 a.m. She is committed to following her destiny and is not interested in hearing contrary opinions. Venus in Sagittarius opposes Ceres in Gemini at 4:12 a.m. They're at 11 degrees 51 minutes. Optimistic, adventurous, spiritual Venus in Sag is not interested in motherly advice from Ceres, no matter how lovingly the message may be delivered. Sometimes nurturing means allowing someone their own experience and then nurturing them if they got a little hurt along the way. Besides, Ceres can't help but share Venus's enthusiasm for the infinite possibilities of life and love and a puppy. She's just loving interrupting these videos. Mercury stations direct at 8:16 a.m. at 10 degrees 7 minutes of Libra. Hallelujah! This Mercury retrograde has packed a wallop, as my dad likes to say. He has been very busy getting the word out about relationships, balance, and justice. Sometimes when we hear something disagreeable or something that seems out of balance, we want to stick our fingers in our ears and go, na, na, na. But when Mercury is retrograde, he has no problem giving you the message 3 times to make you hear it. It's like me talking to my son. Can you please take out the garbage? I said, please take out the garbage. Take out the garbage, and if I have to ask you again, I'm going to put the leaky garbage bag back on your bed. Seriously, I wouldn't do that, but Mercury does get tired of drilling in the message. After his final T-square to Pluto and Aries, he'll clear his retrograde shadow on November 2nd, ready to enter new territory just in time for the Scorpio new moon. At 7:36 p.m., Mars in Libra trines Jupiter in Aquarius. They're at 22 degrees 19 minutes. Generally, a trine with Jupiter is yummy energy. But like a teenage boy, with Mars, you just don't know what direction he's going to take. On the one hand, he could be strong-arming someone into undergoing a science experiment in their own body in the name of social justice. On the other hand, he could be taking action or setting goals to create the spiritual community I mentioned earlier. I know a lot of people doing their research and studying Jupiter, what state they want to move to when they leave California. While this isn't the best time for putting a deposit on a plot of land sight unseen, it is a good time for learning about energy and frequency-related innovations. It's also a lovely time to listen instead of talk. Tuesday, October 19th. The waxing moon in Aries has a really nice day until late in the evening. She's more interested in doing things on her own than with someone else. She's feeling curious and expansive, adventurous and innovative. An opposition to Mars late at night is like a fight with your sibling at the end of a really good day. You both think you're right. Although there are not any exact transits today, we're feeling the energy of a grand trine in air between now direct Mercury, Saturn in Aquarius, and retrograde Ceres in Gemini. This is as a reminder to breathe. When in doubt, breathe. Take a deep breath before tomorrow's full moon. It's also a reminder that we can always go back and revise our ideas, opinions, and perspectives when presented with new information or new insight. You can totally make someone's day by asking them for their insight and then listening to what they have to say, especially if you have a different opinion. Wednesday, October 20th, the waxing moon in Aries is in no mood for platitudes. She meets up with Eris and squares Pluto in Capricorn late in the night. She can't sleep, so she works out. It's amazing how long you can hold plank when you're mad at somebody. She goes void with the full moon at 7:56 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 10:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 3:56 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. This is such a complex full moon. There is so much information, all of the different viewpoints in typical Libra fashion. I've struggled putting it all together. I may make a separate full moon video this weekend. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel just in case. Mercury is still retrograde in Libra as I speak these words, so I may go back for a revision or review. For now, let's get to the heart of it. As I said in the intro of this video, everything is hanging in the balance with this full moon. What tips the scales for you? We are all going to get tipped or triggered one way or the other. What information will you receive or perceive that is the single grain of sand to tip your scales and catapult you into making a decision? The decision at the new moon that you knew you were going to have to make. This full moon is big and explosive because she is conjunct Eris and opposite both Mars and the Sun. It forms a big cardinal T-square with Pluto and Capricorn stuck in the middle. You have to initiate. The energy will not let you get stuck or let you sit and think about it for a while longer. Cardinal energy is visionary. What's your vision? If your vision is the new Earth, you are already on your way. If your vision is a world paradigm based on love and sovereignty, you are already on your way. If your vision is fear of any kind, fear of mandates, fear of illness, fear of the collective, fear of being alone, fear of the 3D, fear of the 5D, fear of poverty, fear of hunger, fear of wealth, then you are really going to struggle with this full moon. Do you want to be mindful, M-I-N-D-F-U-L, or mindful, M-I-N-D-F-U-L-L? When you are faced with an important decision, can you filter through all of the thoughts and noise in your head to listen to your heart instead? Do you breathe before you choose? The high vibration of this full moon, and yes, there is always a high vibration, says, do not buy the fear, but do know your escape route. Your escape route is your vision of love and the new Earth. Mother Earth and Gaia have already manifested it. We get to make the choices and take steps to get there, if that's your vision. Your escape route is also taking all the shadows and turning them into gifts and blessings. Paradoxically, your escape route can also be initiated by being completely in present moment, not worrying about the past or the future. One of the dangers of this full moon is letting others make the decisions for us out of desperation, and then we end up feeling wounded, either physically or emotionally, and full of shame because we gave up our power. All of this fire and air energy which we've been feeling for months can be exhausting. Talk about information overload. I know so many people who have thrown up their hands and said, whatever, I'll do it, let's just get back to normal, or I'll do it because I don't want to argue, or well-meaning parents who have not let their adolescent or young adult children choose in their sovereignty what they want, which is different from what the parents want. It hurts my Cancerian heart sometimes. The truth is, we are in the process of creating a new paradigm. There is no getting back, no going back. The old normal didn't serve any of us. We are on this express train and it's time to pick your destination. It's time to choose your community. It's time to choose your relationships. It's time to choose if you wish to be sovereign or play in the sandbox of the collective. With Libra, you may also choose to be a loving bridge between the 3D and the 5D. Here's the magic, my love. There is no wrong choice. There is no wrong answer. This is the magic of life when you know that the divine has your back. Divine, source, God, the cosmos, the universe, whatever name you give to this magnificent pulse of love that unites all of our spirits, it always has our back. This is the highest frequency that we can tap into, the trust, the inner knowing, the awareness. Our breath can always bring us back to the awareness. There is so much more about this full moon that I could say. I'm at peace with this right now, though, especially because we still have Mars to contend with. The waning moon won't leave us hanging in the balance for too long. She moves into earthy, pleasurable, practical, and resourceful Taurus at 12:58 p.m. Thursday, October 21st. The waning moon in Taurus is strategic and resourceful. She knows how to be innovative even when things seem bleak. The big energy today is the Mars-Pluto-Aries T-square. Truthfully, this energy starts to build when the sun forms his T-square, and it could possibly culminate with the full moon, but I just didn't have the heart to tell you about it then. Besides, the more I study this astrology, the more clearly I can see both sides. Libra. Mars in Libra exactly opposes Eris and Aries at 2:41 p.m. That's at 24 degrees, 11 minutes. Then squares Pluto in Capricorn at 9:19 p.m. They're at 24 degrees, 22 minutes. Sometimes Mars and Eris compete with each other, as is typical with siblings, except that Eris is on their home field and Mars is away at relationship school. Eris is telling him to fight for her, to fight for justice, to make sure that everyone gets a voice at all costs. Despite his best intentions, Mars may not be able to keep the peace. He may feel pushed into taking action. I see people taking to the streets. Their scales get tipped. There is the potential for violence in the 3D world. This potential exists all week. Pluto is watching all of this, possibly ruthless, possibly calculated. Remember, he tapped into the practical strategies of Pallas back in March 2020. He has this all figured out. Or does he? Many people in positions of power, whether in the government or corporations, have put all their money, they've bet everything on their power, on maintaining total control, either for the sake of power itself or for greed and wealth. Except they're losing control. Just ask some of the pilots and other workers at Southwest. They are modeling sovereignty for all of us. You could definitely take to the streets in protest with this energy. I certainly wouldn't blame you. The energy is there and someone has to fight for justice, right? Someone has to tell the authorities that they can't do what they are doing. And trust me, they think they know exactly what they are doing. They are baiting you to fight so that they can tighten control. It's so easy to take the bait. I know I've done it. We can make it a battle to the death, or we can trust that this is a precursor to profound transformation. The thing is, while we are all powerful love warriors, we have to ask if that is how we can be of service best to the new earth. It might be so hard not to join the battle. However, I ask you to tap into the energy of Vesta in Scorpio. Go into ceremony. What are the rituals that keep you connected to your divinity? Connected to the divine feminine? Go for a walk in nature with your beloved. Make passionate love with your beloved. Do something kind for someone you love. Practice your sovereignty in front of a mirror, or better yet, out in nature. Feel the connection of Mother Earth through your feet and your connection to the divine through your crown. You are so beautiful in your sovereignty. You were born sovereign, and no one can take it away from you. Ultimately, Pluto and Eris want us to transform into a sovereign society. This is coming. Old paradigms will have to die for a new one to be born, and that's okay. It won't come through war, though. It will come through love. Speaking of love, there is one more transit today that I want to share with you, and it's a beautiful transit with which to end the Juicy Astrology this week. At 8:36 p.m., when we're possibly in the middle of all the mayhem, Jupiter in Aquarius sextiles Juno in Sagittarius. They're at 22 degrees, 21 minutes. You may want to burst with love for your beloved. You can feel the expansion of your heart and your union. You can feel the expansion of potential when you connect at a spiritual level. Be grateful for being together in these crazy times, that you chose to navigate the chaos with this one person who knows your heart. If you are single and are seeking your beloved, or if you're in a relationship where you feel disconnected, take a moment to manifest. Sit quietly and imagine how you feel when in spiritual union with someone. Feel your heart expand with light. Trust that it's already happening for you. All right, beauties, I know it can be so challenging to trust with so much discomfort and polarity in the world. After this week, I see all sides taking to their respective corners for a rest until the new moon in Scorpio on November 4th. Jupiter, Aries, Venus, and Juno will all dance together as we shift into Scorpio season. It'll be lovely. I'll bring it all to you in the next Juicy Astrology. For those of you wanting to know how all this Juicy Astrology in October and beyond impacts you personally, please head over to my website, www.divinelyjennifer.com, to book your session. Now more than ever, it's important that we are nourishing our body, soul, and spirit. I am holding us all with divine love and compassion as we navigate these Eris-inspired chaotic days. Remember Joan of Arc if you're feeling alone. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Divinely Jennifer, and I'll see you the next time.